America is having a debate about whether the losers of the Civil War deserve the consolation prize of having American military bases named after them. President Trump said today that we will be keeping the Confederate names. A veteran in Colorado's congressional delegation disagrees. Democratic Congressman Jason Crow of Aurora is joining the growing chorus of people calling on the government to rename military bases named after Confederate generals. The Army said it was open to a conversation about this. Crow says that the men who fought under the Confederate flag were not American patriots, and it is past time to end their honors from the U.S. military.